What you just saw is Kodak Black getting caught totally off guard by some random person inside a New York City nightclub. 1 second it looked like just another viral kiss going around online, and the next thing you know, the whole situation flipped into something way more confusing. Right after that moment, something strange went down, and now the full story got people asking serious questions about what really happened that night. Most artists at Kodak's level, rappers with that kind of catalog, that kind of past, that level of fame, don't move like regular people in public spaces. There's usually layers between them and everybody else. Security all around, velvet ropes blocking access, private entrances, and people controlling who gets close and for how long. That whole system exists for one reason: to stop moments exactly like what happened on April 8, 2026. But Kodak Black, he's never really been the type to follow that setup like everyone else. Kodak Black, born Bill Capri and raised in the Golden Acres housing projects in Pompano Beach, Florida, always kept it real and close to the ground. He moves through clubs like he's part of the crowd, not above it. He connects with people, chills with the energy, shakes hands, takes pics, laughs with strangers. It's like he's just another face in the room enjoying the night. Even though, let's be honest, he's the reason the whole place is lit in the first place. That openness isn't random. It's who he is, both as a person and an artist. But at the same time, that same energy, it can open the door for moments like this to happen. And this situation is a perfect example of how fast things can get unexpected. So when Kodak pulled up to a nightclub in New York City around April 8th, 2026, nobody in that building thought it was strange that fans were literally within arm's reach of him. That's just how a Kodak Black night goes. There's this unspoken understanding, people get close, and he doesn't push them away. And most of the time, nothing wild comes from it. Most of the time, that whole week in New York had already been going smooth for him. He hit the stage at the April Fool's Comedy Jam at Barclays Center on April 4th. Big crowd, big energy, everything on point. Around that same stretch, he showed up at Harbor NYC for a rooftop party and performance, and the city was showing him major love. He wasn't in a rush to leave either. No laying low, no staying tucked away. He was outside, fully active in New York nightlife, moving how you move when the vibe feels too good to walk away from. And honestly, there was no reason for him to slow down. Clips all over social media from that same night showed Kodak locked into a very specific kind of mood. He was in the club, drinks flowing, music blasting, completely in his zone. And he wasn't just vibing solo either. He was getting real close and comfortable with Just Britney, one of the artists signed to his Sniper Gang label. Videos showed her dancing up on him, both of them laughing, moving together, clearly enjoying the moment. People in the comments kept repeating the same thing, saying he looked like he was in heaven. And that energy, it wasn't low-key at all. It was loud, obvious, and impossible to miss. The crowd around them saw everything go down. Phones were already up, cameras rolling, catching every second, and that footage was already spreading online before the main clip even hit. Then out of nowhere, it happened. A fan in that club, someone who saw their chance and just went for it without thinking twice about what could come next, walked straight up to Kodak, fast, bold, no hesitation at all, and planted a kiss on him right there in the middle of the room, in front of everybody with someone's phone locked in and recording the whole thing. The clip, usually around 9 to 12 seconds in most reposts, shows the entire moment from start to finish, the approach, the kiss, and what happened right after. And in those few seconds, Kodak Black looks completely shocked, like truly caught off guard in a way you don't usually see on camera. His reaction says everything. Wide eyes, quick turn, trying to process what just happened in real time. It's that exact look that people everywhere kept pointing out in the comments, all saying the same thing like they were on the same page. Wait a damn minute. And the wild part? He didn't push the fan away, didn't call for security, didn't raise his voice or turn it into a scene. He kept it calm, didn't escalate anything, even though the whole moment was clearly unexpected and way out of nowhere. He handled it the way Kodak Black usually does when fans step a little too close in real life. He didn't panic, didn't react crazy. He let the moment sit, processed it quietly, and kept it moving. No confrontation, no scene, just that look on his face saying everything without him needing to say a single word. That clip blew up fast on April 8th, hitting all the major hip-hop pages that move content quicker than traditional media ever could. World Star Hip Hop, My Mixtape as Hip Hop Ties, Drizzy Inspiration. Once it landed there, it was everywhere within hours. and every repost had comment sections people kept describing the same way: messy. But here's where it really gets interesting. The chaos in those comments wasn't really about Kodak himself. It wasn't even fully about the kiss or how bold that move was or what it might say about fan behavior in 2026. The real reason things got wild online came down to one thing: the fan. More specifically, who that person was and what people thought they were seeing when they looked at them. That's what turned every comment section into a full-on debate, with people arguing back and forth trying to figure it out. And as of April 9th, 2026, that fan still hasn't been publicly identified. No name, no confirmed details, and no outlet has tracked them down yet. No social media account popped up. No interviews, no follow-ups, nothing. Nobody stepped forward claiming to be that fan. It's like the person walked into the club, saw Kodak, made that bold move, and then vanished right back into the crowd like it never even happened. And that right there left the internet going wild, arguing over the footage with zero extra context to go off, no background, no identity, just a short clip and a whole lot of opinions. Comments started rolling in fast, with people saying things like "that's a Sir G," then others throwing out "lady boy" and "that's a dude," while other users pushed back hard, calling those takes a reach and saying people were just seeing what they wanted to see. Then came the memes, the confused reactions, the quote reposts, all designed to pull even more people into the chaos. It wasn't just a clip anymore, it turned into a full online debate. And when WorldStar dropped their post with the caption "the internet's confused," that only made things blow up even more. People who hadn't even seen the video yet clicked just to figure out what everyone was talking about. And the ones who already saw it, they kept coming back, jumping into the comments, ready to argue their side and keep the conversation going. It turned into one of those rare viral moments where what actually happened matters less than the argument it creates. And once that argument starts, it just keeps feeding itself over and over again. If you followed Kodak Black's career for any amount of time, even casually, you already know this wasn't some random, out of nowhere situation. What went down in that New York City club on April 8th, 2026, that was just another chapter in a story that's been building for years. A story filled with fans getting a little too close, moments getting a little too strange, and Kodak reacting the same way almost every time. Awkward, calm, unbothered, and somehow still standing solid at the end of it all. And the root of everything? It's his accessibility. Most rappers at his level figured out a long time ago that the easiest way to avoid chaotic fan moments is to create distance. Stay hard to reach, let the mystery build, let security handle the crowd, and keep that barrier in place. But Kodak never moved like that, and it shows in every clip that pops up. He walks through clubs, shows, and public spots like someone who actually wants to be right in the middle of the energy, not separated from it. And when you move like that for years, across different cities, different venues, different crowds, you don't just build a career, it shows you build a collection of wild, unpredictable moments that people keep talking about. Some of these moments are funny, some are straight up wild, and at least one of them is honestly hard to watch. But we've got to start with the one people still can't forget, the one that's been stuck in everyone's head ever since it happened. Even now in 2026, it still stands as one of the most chaotic and physical fan encounters ever caught on camera involving Kodak. Now rewind to September 2022, out in the Bahamas. This one had a completely different vibe, less chaotic on the surface, more relaxed, almost warm, but the same pattern was right there underneath it all. Kodak wasn't performing, wasn't at an event, nothing like that. He was just walking toward the beach with friends, looking like he was enjoying a normal vacation day. Then out of nowhere, a blonde woman nearby spotted him, and she didn't hesitate for a second. No standing back, no second guessing, no asking for permission. She walked straight up to him. She reached out, placed her hand on the back of his head, and pulled him into a deep, full-body hug, pressing right up against him in a way that clearly crossed into uncomfortable territory. Then she pulled back just enough, grabbed his face with both hands, looked right at him, and said, "I don't know if you're with a girlfriend, but I wanted to kiss you." And right after that, she kissed him on the cheek. It didn't even stop there. She started jumping around screaming, ran to her friends to tell them what just happened, then came right back again, hugged him again, kissed his cheek a second time, said she loved him, and then just ran off like nothing happened. Kodak hugged her back the entire time. When she told him she loved him, he said, "I love you too," right back without hesitation. Then he even posted the clip on his own Instagram story, calling the whole moment pure touchy-feely love. No awkwardness, no visible discomfort, just Kodak being himself, letting fans into his space and treating the moment like something worth showing off instead of brushing it off. Then there's the 2024 stage proposal, and yeah, this one caught people off guard too. During a show in California, a fan actually got down on one knee in the middle of his performance and proposed to him, and she wasn't playing around either. She looked completely serious. Kodak didn't shut it down or make it weird. He went along with it, played into the moment, even nodded along with his lyrics while the crowd reacted to everything happening live. It gave the audience a moment they wouldn't forget, without putting the fan in a position to feel embarrassed or rejected. Of course, nothing came from it after that. It ended the way these moments usually do. The clip spreads everywhere, people talk about it for a few days, and then something new takes over. But it still adds to that growing list of wild interactions that define how Kodak and his fans connect. And it's not just those big viral moments either. Year after year, smaller clips keep popping up showing the same pattern. Fans, and sometimes even people around him, getting real close, dancing up on him at shows, after parties, VIP sections, and clubs. Some of those clips get so up close and physical that people in the comments keep repeating the same kind of reaction every single time. People in the comments kept saying the same thing over and over. They look like they're getting it on right there. And it's not just quick moments either. Kodak has pulled fans on stage for dances that go way longer than what you'd expect at a normal concert. These aren't quick interactions, they stretch out, turning into full-on moments that get people talking. Even his meet and greets don't stay basic. There was one time where he spent nearly 5 full minutes with a single fan just signing her shirt. 5 minutes for one person, that's way beyond the usual quick autograph and move on. It turned into this long personal interaction that somehow went viral on its own, landing in that same category of strange but unforgettable fan moments. And then there's one clip that's just completely random and impossible to explain. No context, no build up, just Kodak briefly picking his nose and wiping it on a fan's head. Yeah, that actually happened. It sounds unreal, but it's out there, and now it's part of the conversation whether people like it or not. The common thread through all of this is simple. Kodak does not create distance between himself and fans. He never really has, and because of that, people feel bold. They see how open he is, how the last person got close without being pushed away, and it makes them think they can do the same thing. Most of the time, these moments stay in that lane of being funny, awkward, or just plain viral without turning into something serious. But they don't just disappear, they stack up. Year after year, city after city, show after show, the moments keep building. And that April 8th NYC kiss is just the latest addition to a list that was already long and keeps getting longer. At this point, if something else wild happens, the next time someone walks up to Kodak Black in a club and it ends up online, the people who've been watching closely won't be shocked at all. Looking at the bigger picture, there's an easy way to tell the Kodak Black fan kiss story. In that version, it's just a funny nightclub clip. A rapper gets caught off guard, his facial expression says everything, the internet argues about the fan's identity for a couple of days, and then it all fades away like nothing ever happened. And sure, that version isn't wrong, the facts line up, the timeline makes sense, but it leaves out a lot of what actually gives the moment weight, because Kodak Black has never been someone whose story fits into a simple, clean version. The man standing in that New York City club on April 8th, 2026, the one with the wide eyes and that shocked reaction, is someone who's lived through a lot more than just viral moments. If you really know the background, it changes how you see everything. He's done time in federal prison. He had his sentence commuted by a US president. He survived getting shot outside a high-profile restaurant in West Hollywood during Super Bowl weekend. And 2025, that year brought a very public and messy custody battle that played out everywhere. Arrests, legal back and forth, Instagram lives, and accusations that, no matter how they ended legally, still left a mark on how people see him. That kind of history doesn't just disappear because paperwork gets signed. And when you look at all of that, it doesn't change what happened in that club, but it definitely changes how heavy that moment feels and what it represents when people talk about it. Now let's get into the relationship side of things, because it connects directly to the energy of that night. The footage with Just Britney, the fan kiss, all of it, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. As of April 2026, Kodak Black is not publicly known to be in a stable, confirmed relationship. He has 5 children with 4 different women, and his personal life has been one of the most talked about and complicated in hip-hop. Not because he's chasing attention, but because real situations keep playing out in public, whether he wants them to or not. His longest and most intense relationship has been with Miranda Johnson, a realtor and reality TV personality from Wags to Riches. She's been part of his life since around 2017, and their relationship has gone through constant ups and downs ever since. They share 2 children together, a daughter, Queen Yuri, and a son, and for years things would go back and forth. Breakups, getting back together, quiet periods, then small signs online hinting that things were either going good or falling apart again. But when 2025 hit, everything shifted and it didn't stay private. In February 2025, Miranda filed for emergency custody and the situation became very public very fast. The filing included serious accusations involving claims of domestic conflict, concerns about his presence as a father, and disputes over financial support based on his income situation. She also referenced Florida's Grayson's Law, which requires courts to consider any history of domestic issues when making custody decisions. That legal move took what had been a complicated relationship behind the scenes and pushed it right into the spotlight, turning it into a situation people across the internet were now watching closely. She also claimed that Kodak and his mother took their son without telling her, and even said she was told she might never see him again. Those details were serious, specific, and once they hit the internet, everything escalated fast. Kodak's legal team didn't stay quiet either. They fired back quickly, calling the accusations a money grab and filing countersuits, including defamation claims and accusations of property damage after Miranda allegedly damaged the windshields of several of his luxury cars. Now both sides were locked in, going back and forth in court while everything spilled out into public view. Court filings, social media posts, tabloid headlines, it all came together in a way that gave people a front row seat to a situation that was clearly intense and deeply personal. At the same time, 2025 brought even more headlines involving Miranda. She was arrested multiple times that year in connection to incidents tied to the same ongoing tension. One situation involved a reported altercation at their daughter, Queen Yuri's birthday party, where other individuals connected to Kodak were also present. Then there was a separate nightclub incident that led to charges like battery and criminal mischief, followed by another situation at a courthouse that added even more attention to the situation. It wasn't just one disagreement, it was multiple situations stacking up across different places and times, and this wasn't limited to just one relationship either. The tension spread across multiple connections, multiple families, and multiple legal situations all happening at once, making everything even more complicated. By September 2025, both sides reached a settlement. A parenting plan was put in place and the lawsuits were dropped on both ends. Since then, Miranda has been referred to as his ex-girlfriend in most coverage. Legally, that chapter is closed, but the impact it had going into 2026, that doesn't just disappear, it stays part of the bigger story people remember when moments like this come up again. Before Miranda, there was Mellow Rax, an influencer and rapper Kodak was engaged to around 2021. That relationship didn't end clean at all, and the tension never fully went away. Things stayed messy enough that by 2025 it all came back up again in a big way. The situation reignited when she linked up musically with NBA YoungBoy after Kodak had publicly taken shots at him. That move brought everything back to the surface. Old clips, past moments, and previous accusations all started circulating again, and the internet, it reacted exactly how you'd expect. Loud, non-stop, and with zero mercy for anyone involved. Every angle got picked apart, every detail got replayed, and the whole situation turned into another online storm that people couldn't stop talking about. Then you circle back to Just Britney, back to that New York club night, back to the moment everything went viral. Officially, she's an artist signed to Kodak's Sniper Gang label. That's the documented relationship, the business side people can point to when they ask questions. But the footage from March and April 2026, especially from that same NYC night as the fan kiss, shows something that doesn't feel strictly business. The way she was dancing on him, the way he was reacting, smiling with that energy people kept describing as in heaven, it had the internet looking at their dynamic a little differently. The two of them were taking shots, standing close, moving in a way that gave off a vibe way beyond just artist and label executive. It felt personal, warm, and real in a way that had people online raising eyebrows. Comment sections were flooded with the same take, people calling her Kodak's new girlfriend, no matter what the official story said. And to add to that, Kodak himself, has admitted in past interviews that the line between business and personal with artists on his label isn't always clear. So when people saw that footage, they didn't wait around for confirmation. They made their own calls right then and there. Nothing involving just Britney has been officially confirmed beyond music and business, but at the same time, nothing in those clips screams strictly professional either. And once the internet locks into a narrative like that, it runs with it fast, now shifting into his legal history, because you can't really understand Kodak Black's full story without going there. His issues with the law go all the way back to October 2015, when he was just 18 years old. At that time, he faced serious accusations tied to an incident in Pompano Beach, involving claims that he forced individuals into a vehicle after believing they had broken into his home. The charges listed were severe, including robbery, battery, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. That moment marked the start of a long and complicated connection with the legal system, something that would shape his life just as much as his music career did. Then in February 2016, another major case surfaced. A young woman accused him of sexual assault at a hotel in Florence, South Carolina after one of his shows. The charge was first-degree criminal sexual conduct, one of the most serious charges under South Carolina law, carrying a potential sentence of up to 30 years. The case didn't resolve quickly either. It moved through the system for years, stretching out over a long and difficult legal process. In April 2021, the case finally reached a turning point. Kodak accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to a reduced charge of first-degree assault and battery. As part of that agreement, he was sentenced to 18 months of probation, avoided additional prison time, and issued an apology in court. But even with that resolution, the original accusations didn't just disappear. They stayed part of the public record and continued to shape how people talk about him and view his past. Then going back to January 2018, while he was already on probation, another situation added more pressure. He started an Instagram live from inside his home, and in that video he appeared to be passing around a marijuana joint and a firearm while in a room with his infant son present. Authorities responded directly to that video. It led to multiple charges, including grand theft of a firearm, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, cannabis possession, and child neglect, making the situation even more serious. That moment became, and still is, one of the most talked about examples in hip-hop of an artist incriminating themselves through their own social media. It's brought up again and again whenever people talk about how quickly things can go left online. Then in 2019, things escalated even further. Federal prosecutors accused Kodak of providing false information on weapon purchase paperwork, saying he misrepresented his criminal history during background checks in order to obtain multiple firearms in Miami. He ended up pleading guilty and was sentenced to 46 months in federal prison. He started serving that time, and by January 2021 he was still locked up, until a major twist changed everything. In one of his final actions while still in office, the US president at the time reduced Kodak's sentence. It wasn't a full pardon, the conviction stayed on his record, but it meant he was released early after serving about a year and a half of what was supposed to be nearly 4 years. And once he got out, he didn't waste time getting back outside. But then came another shocking moment. February 12, 2022, during Super Bowl weekend in West Hollywood. Violence erupted outside the Nice Guy restaurant, and Kodak ended up with an injury to his leg. 2 other men were also injured in that same incident, turning what was supposed to be a high-profile weekend into something much more serious. After that, a civil lawsuit was filed against him by 2 of the injured men, with claimed damages at one point reaching as high as $62 million. But that situation didn't last forever. In March 2026, just weeks before the NYC Club incident, the lawsuit was officially dismissed with prejudice, meaning it's permanently closed and can't be brought back again. That specific legal shadow, at least for now, it's gone. But this is still the man you're looking at in that 10-second clip. This is who's standing in that nightclub with that shocked expression on his face. A man who's done time in federal prison, had his sentence reduced by a US leader, lived through a violent incident where he was injured, accepted a plea in a major case, dealt with a 2018 child neglect charge that unfolded on his own livestream, and went through a drawn-out custody battle in 2025 that lasted for months. 5 kids across 4 different households, a former fiancé whose issues with him came back into the spotlight, and now a situation with a current artist on his label that has the entire internet watching closely and forming opinions in real time. And through all of this, after that viral moment on April 8, 2026, Kodak hasn't said a single word about the kiss, no post, no response, no statement from him or his team, nothing from the fan either, just silence from both sides, which only makes people talk even more. That's the full story behind the Kodak Black fan kiss moment. Every layer, every detail, everything that adds weight to those few seconds people can't stop replaying. If you found this wild, confusing, or just straight up unbelievable, make sure you tap like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to see it, and drop your thoughts in the comments below.